So if I told you that we would concede within 30 seconds of this frame, would you believe me? You might think, okay, maybe Onana misplaces the pass and he hits it in, or gives it away there and he hits it in. Nah, it was actually a lot more depressing than that. So Solanke is going to try to pressure Onana here, but we know how good Onana is on the ball. He's going to play a nice little ball to Dallo, and Dallo is going to pass it to Martinez. As Licha gets it, he plays a first-time pass to no one. He just swings his right foot at it, scuffs it. We know how good Martinez is on the ball usually, especially on his left. But this was an aimless pass that, I don't know, maybe the pressure got to him? So the ball trickles out to nobody in particular, and Pedro Porro picks it up. Maybe it was aimed for Mainu, but it was a shocking pass. And Pedro Porro is going to go down the wing here. As Porro gets ready to cross it in, we're in a pretty good defensive situation here. We're outnumbering them in the box, and we should be able to deal with it, which we do. So Pedro Porro crosses it in, and it lands at Dallo's feet. Dallo controls the ball and plays a nice little disguised ball out to Rashford there. Rashford gets it, lays it off to Bruno, and Bruno's going to turn and go into this space here. If you ever look at this picture, this is the time to release the ball, where Garnacho is running towards the other goal in more or less a straight line. So if you release the ball now, Garnacho is going to be onside. He's in his own half and behind Van de Ven anyway. And, it's a foot race between him and Van de Ven towards goal. Whether he wins it or not, that's a different story. But this is the time to release the ball. But as you can see, Bruno is taking quite a heavy touch, which he's entitled to do with this much space there. Garnacho's made his run a little bit too early. So now what he's forced to do is to make this curved run to stay onside, which obviously you don't want to be running towards the sideline. You want to be running towards the goal, right? So by the time Bruno actually releases the ball, Garnacho's more or less just running this way. And as Bruno hits it, he's going to have to adjust and go this way, whereas the defenders are obviously just running straight back. And even if this pass had come off, which it didn't, it would have been a tough ask for Garnacho to pick up the pace again and beat the recovering defenders. But what makes it worse is that Bruno's pass is actually quite short. So it forces Garnacho to have to turn back, slow his momentum down to get the ball. So all he can really do is just poke the ball back to an oncoming Rashford, which actually he does really well, shielding it from Udogie. This Rashford comes steaming in there. He takes a really big touch / inaccurate pass. Like the ball ends up here, and Garnacho's not sure if it's a pass. Rashford's not sure himself if it's a pass, and the ball kind of ends up in between them, as you can see right here. So Garnacho's kind of slowing down. Should I get the ball? Should I not? He decides to just go. Rashford is like, I don't really know if that was a pass or not, and hesitates a little bit. Meanwhile, you can see Van de Ven just gearing up, and we know how freaking quick he is, just steaming in to intercept the ball. So Van de Ven is going to freaking motor down this side here. If he frees it at the halfway line, you can see that Bruno is side to side with Van de Ven. When you're side to side, you're not going to recover. Van de Ven is too quick. So Bruno's pretty much out of the game already, even though against most other players, he wouldn't be. So Bruno's gone. Mazraoui is concerned about Timo Werner, but arguably, you'd rather have the ball land here on the wing rather than have someone just split your whole defense like this, so maybe Mazraoui could have dropped off there. De Ligt maybe also could have shifted over, but it's customary to have 2-on-1 against the striker there. So Solanke is in the middle, and Solanke is no slouch, she's fast as well. So if De Ligt moves over here, Solanke makes this run, it's going to be very tough for Sandro to make a recovery there. So De Ligt is kind of between a rock and a hard place there. Next is Ugarte. I think this is a clear candidate to shift over. Yes, that would probably leave Maddison free, but it's not like Maddison's got a bunch of pace. It's not like he's going to grab the ball and just dribble at everybody. He's probably going to swing it out wide or something, just delaying, letting our players get back. So Ugarte shifting over was probably the best idea. But what happens is Bruno, Ugarte, De Ligt, Mazraoui just underestimates Van de Ven's pace, just exactly how quick he is. As we move it forward a bit, Ugarte has engaged too late, so he's side by side, so he's out of the game because Van de Ven is too quick. Mazraoui is pretty much side by side. He's left Werner now, but a little bit too late, so he is out the game. And De Ligt, he's got a few yards on him, still worried about Solanke, but De Ligt is measuring it up. He's like, okay, if Van de Ven takes a big touch here, I'm going to have enough room and speed to get to the ball and clear it. As Van de Ven takes this big touch, and the ball's going to go there, De Ligt is in a pretty favorable position. He's got, a couple of yards on him, and he, against most other players, he can make this interception, challenge, whatever. But again, all of our players just underestimated Van de Ven's pace. That's what it comes down to. It's just individual quality, lack of awareness, lack of reading the scouting report, whatever it is. So obviously, Van de Ven gets there comfortably in front of De Ligt, who isn't even close to getting a block in. Solanke here is still tracked by Martinez, which is pretty good. but you can see Brennan Johnson was not tracked by Dalot at all, and is just wide open by himself at the far post. And guess where the ball lands? Obviously at Brennan Johnson's feet, who has an easy tap in. So here's an aerial view of the same goal. So as Van der Ven has it at the halfway line, have a look at Dalot's positioning. When they're side by side like this, he should be able to keep up and track him back to goal. In fact, he should be looking to beat his man and get between him and the goal. Dalot's still not goal side of him, and he's jogging. When you watch the video back, he's kind of jogging. Not sprinting, no urgency. The ball's in the box now. The gap between Johnson and Dalot has increased, not decreased, increased. Brennan Johnson's not full on speeding either. He's running, but he's not sprinting into the goal. If Dalot sprinted, he could have made the recovery. But for some reason, Dalot just stops running at the edge of the box, leaving Brennan Johnson completely open. And of course he taps it in, and Dalot's raised his hand like, it's my bad. Well, yeah, it is your bad. It's the 3rd minute. I don't know why you're so tired or you're just out of the game, not concentrating. Just really bad all around. It shows the mentality more than anything. And we know Dalot has a great mentality, but just not in this game, for whatever reason. One thing you definitely don't want to do coming out in the second half if you're a man down and a goal down is to concede a second really early. And guess what we did? Yep. So we'll pick it up here. In the 47th minute, so a minute and 30 in, Garnacho's got the ball here, and Dalot has made an overlapping run here. If Garnacho can find this ball over the top, obviously Dalot's in, but with 2 players bearing down on him, it's a very difficult pass, and Garnacho has to go back. As Licha gets the ball, you can see Solanke's on him straight away. Can't go back to Garnacho now because he's covered. This is a difficult pass considering Solanke is bearing down on the angle. So Licha decides to go long over the top to where Dalot was. Dalot's actually on his way back, as he should be, but because of the ball, he's forced to chase. The pass is too long, the players aren't in sync again, and Romero is able to hoof it clear. As the ball comes down, Casemiro here contests it with Solanke. And if you ever look at our players, this is Mason Mount, Ugarte, Rashford, Garnacho, Dalot is off the screen there. Remember, we only have 9 outfield players, okay, because Bruno got sent off. So if we have 5 here, 6th in Casemiro, then on this side of the pitch, we only have 3. So if Casemiro doesn't win this header, then we're in big trouble. So obviously, even though Casemiro is great in the air, he gets nudged off the ball by Solanke. And we know Brennan Johnson can run. Timo Werner, he can't do many things well, but he can run. James Maddison, not much of a runner, but he can certainly carry the ball. And not to mention Kulusevski, the eventual goal scorer. We know he's got a motor on him, so he's going to beat Ugarte, who's caught upfield as well. And it's just a bad situation. So the ball bounces up and lands on Solanke's head, and he's going to head it in this direction. You can already see the separation between Ugarte and Kulusevski, even though they started pretty much side by side. And basically, it's a 3-on-5 situation, depending on how well you expect Mason Mount and Ugarte to be able to recover. In one last desperate attempt, Lisandro Martinez tries to stretch for the ball and clear it, but he just misses it. And so you've got 2-on-0 going down this way. I mean, look at this. So as we get closer to the edge of the box, you can see Brennan Johnson's going to carry it inside. And you can see, again, De Ligt is measuring. He's got Kulusevski to worry about, but he's also got to close this space down because Johnson can run directly at the goal. This time, as Brennan Johnson takes a touch into the box, De Ligt actually times it really well, so he's able to recover, get his trail leg on the ball, which makes the ball bounce off the turf and up into the air. But as we saw, Kulusevski's got a motor on him, Ugarte's still behind, can't recover. Kulusevski does a karate kick motion, toe pokes it this way. Questions about Onana possibly coming out to claim the ball, but I think it maybe was a tougher ask. But he certainly could have moved this way to smother the ball. Remember, the ball is what goes into the net. Well, maybe that's a little bit harsh. Either way, Kulusevski gets a toe poke in, and it ends up in the back of the net. Less than 2 minutes into the half, we're 2-0 down, 1 man down. Well, game's over, isn't it? And as if it couldn't get any worse, we'd go ahead and concede a 3rd, from a set piece no less, which hurts just that little bit more. So Bergwijn, who literally just came on, is going to swing the cross in towards the front post. And if you have a look at our situation, it's not ideal. We've got 5-on-4 in there. We've got 1-on-1 locked up, and then we've got 3 in a line and 4 kind of zonal marking. No one man marking him, who, guess what, turns out to be the goal scorer. Pape Sarr, who literally just came on with Bergwijn as well, comes from kind of this blind side of Casemiro, sneaks in front and gets his head on the ball and nods it. And as we saw, Solanke, who wasn't marked, is going to sneak in behind Martinez and Mazraoui. The ball lands perfectly where there's no one there. Maybe Onana could have reacted, maybe not. It all happens in a flash. Solanke with terrific number 9 play stretches. We've seen Xerxes stretch and not get any purchase on the ball in previous games. Solanke is able to get enough of a toe on it to direct it goalwards. And it's in the back of the net with Onana left standing like a statue. Everyone in a line here looking dumbfounded. What more can you say, really? If you enjoyed the video, guys, please consider subscribing and leave a like. Cheers.